forget how it happened. I ended up with six figures of his money that he had invested previously.
Oh, really? You just ended up with six figures of your dad's money. That's convenient.
And I had sold something or something like that. And he wanted the money back. But he kind of was also okay with me reinvesting it in another piece of real estate because it did.
So you had money that wasn't yours. It was his. You were supposed to give it back. You know, I think this whole thing could have been avoided if your dad was just a little bit more assertive and put his foot down to get that money back. Anyway.
Did okay. But he said to me, no restaurant, no business, right? You're just going to rent apartments.
And you did the one thing he said not to do. No restaurant. No restaurant. Okay. Just defy your dad, right? What's your relationship with your dad like? Just defy your dad. You'd be like, Dad, you know what? Screw you. I know better than you.
Right? And I was like, okay. But I knew it was I had the cash in my bank account, so I could do whatever I wanted with it. So technically I should have given it back to him. But, I was like, well, if I can reinvest it, okay, I want to support my family. I think 4 or 5 kids at the time.
Okay.
And I didn't want to go back to teaching, which I hated. So I had all this money. So I had something like 100.
Was that even an option? Was the option to go back to teaching even on the table? Okay, but this helps color in some details. Give us some details here. But that explains how he had the capital to invest into a restaurant, which his dad told him not to do, but he decides to do it anyway. Okay.
$60,000. But I had to spend it. I couldn't hold on to it. I had to reinvest it. And he was kind of like, he's like a nice guy, kind of, and then he gets nervous, but he didn't. Once he got the money in his account, he wouldn't have given it back to me. But do you see what I'm saying? It's kind of, I was like, okay, let's make this work. Maybe this is like God's plan or something. At the same time, I just happened, because of my other properties, I happened to meet Ethiopian people. So I met one guy named Abu Bakar, who actually wasn't
Abu Bakar. Abu Bakar. Give me a boob, you can get in my car. What? Moving on.
He had lied that he was Ethiopian. He was actually Somalian.
Show me a boob.
And this other guy who was like a sweetheart of a guy named Emmanuel, which is the name of Jesus, right?
Oh, man, it was probably that name right there that convinced Ben that this was a message from God. Because he could have invested at anything else. He could have opened any other restaurant. Someone in their chat mentioned a Chick-fil-A restaurant. Yeah, they could have done a Chick-fil-A. And that would have just taken care of itself, man. That would just print money. Wow.
Emmanuel, the God saves us. So I was like, oh, this is kind of amazing. And they were both sweethearts. I helped them when they were first coming to the country, and I gave them jobs actually fixing up the houses with me. They were terrible workers because they couldn't understand, they only understand centimeters and millimeters. They had never worked with power tools. So, but they were sweethearts of guys, just the nicest guys you could ever imagine.
Nicest guys.
And they invited me, and I loved Ethiopian food from having lived in Cambridge when I was in grad school. And it's a very hip cuisine. I think that's really is true, especially among college towns. And here I am in Providence, right? And there's nothing there.
Yeah, I guess. Hipsters, college kids. But yeah, man, we got to try this Ethiopian food. But it's like, all right, I guess. Are we really doing this? Yeah, chicks with hairy armpits that don't take showers. That feel like they can bathe in their own oils, their own body scent. They probably collect it and use it as soap. That's the type of people that go to an Ethiopian restaurant. Weirdos is what I'm saying.
So I was like, and then this guy Emmanuel got married. I went to his wedding. Do you remember going to that, Grace?
Yeah.
So and his wife had cooked all the food, and it's delicious, So I'm like, and these people had just come into the country, and they were just looking for any work at all. And I'm like, here's me, right? I was just like that Seinfeld episode. I don't know if you've ever seen it, where Jerry meets the Pakistani guy and he's going to help him to get his Pakistani restaurant together. So it's the white guy. I'll fill out the forms. I'll do the English. You guys do the food. And won't you love having a job making your own food and be so proud of your culture and you will be really like contributing to the culture of Providence, right? Like, and so this is perfect. This is the perfect immigrant story, and you guys will then. And my idea is I'll be in this 6 to 8 months.
So it is like that. So he got all that money from his dad, okay, from selling something. He forgot the details of that. And the money was actually for his dad. It was his dad's money. He was supposed to give it back or reinvest it. But his dad said no restaurant. He decides to do a restaurant anyway. Why? Because he lives near a bunch, or he had properties that had a bunch of Ethiopians, but they weren't really Ethiopians, were they? They were kind of sort of they're close enough. And he had Ethiopian food, but I guess it wasn't really Ethiopian food from what we learned earlier in this interview. But close enough. And it was just really good. So I guess, like, yeah, the capital there because of his dad, and it was like a call from God. Because that's how Ben operates. So, yeah, there you have it. Don't let your insane dad handle the investments is the lesson that we learned here.